Hey everyone, in today's video I'll be showing you how we can scrape booking.com and then turn that into a tool that we can use to get the results that we need easily. Then this is the first part of a multi-part series. So in this video I'll be showing you how to get the data and how to do basic filtering and processing, and in the next video I'll be showing you how we can turn that into a front-end application so that we can get the exact data in the format that we want and make a nice UI around it. But let's get straight into this video. Alright, so we're here on booking.com, so let's get started. So I'm just going to open up the Chrome developer tools on the left, clear it, and we can close that for now, and then let's just type in some information. Let's do Seattle, and then for the dates, doesn't matter, let's just do these 3 weeks, clear this, and let's click search. Alright, so this data loaded in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click up here, do Command F, and I'm going to look for the data. So let's do, doesn't really matter again, let's search for Astra Hotel. And this is HTML, so that's not what we want. Again, we want the request itself, not the HTML. So let's keep scrolling down and let's see if we can find the next button or get some data to refresh. All right, so as you can see, there's a skeleton UI loading. So that means some data refresh. So that means that these are new requests that were pulled in. Excuse me. So if we go back up here, let's make this bigger and easier to read. So if we do comfort in, now as you can see, we get this GraphQL request. If you're not familiar with GraphQL, essentially what it is, it's a different way of doing GET requests and POST requests as opposed to REST. So it's a little bit different. So you can basically query for multiple things at once, and you can specify which attributes you want. So in REST, like if you want to update the user's profile, you do like, post user / user profile / ID. Whereas in GraphQL, you could just do update the profile and specify everything. Whereas REST, you'd have to do update name, update gender, update whatever. So you could just specify what you want. But that's a little side tangent. But basically, we got the GraphQL request, which is exactly what we want. So now we have to figure out how this works and how we can turn this into our code. So let's go to the headers. Actually, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Let's click here. Let's click this. Let's click copy as curl. And now that we have this, we're going to take this to Postman. And here in Postman, what we're going to do is we're going to paste this in. And mine is lagging a little bit because GraphQL tends to have really big requests because you have to specify everything that you want. So that took quite a long time. So now as we can see, we see all the data. So now let's go through it, the different parameters and headers, and figure out what we need and what we don't need. So if I come here, as you can see, I'm just going to keep all this stuff, and I'm going to untick cookies and anything with authorization, because that's the stuff that's going to get in our way. So I want to see if we can use the API without that. So I'm going to uncheck this, the booking CRS RF token. I'm going to uncheck this serialized state. I'm going to uncheck this cookie. So now if this request works without those, we know that we're in a good spot, because then we can easily write a program that can go and get the data that we need. And this is just some extra information. Again, just that's how GraphQL will look. So actually, this doesn't matter. Let's just send it. And we got the 200, which is exactly what we want. So now if we go back to Chrome, let's see, let's look for comfort in. And we get the comfort in. Absolutely perfect. So now that we have this, let's also explore more of what this API looks like. Because again, GraphQL is a little bit different. So there's going to be a lot of data baked in. So we're doing a full search. We have our check-in, check-out dates. Let's see. Yeah, check-in, check-out, Seattle. Looks like this is the city ID. So we could store this in a database somewhere so that we can refer back to this and use that more often. Let's see. Number of rooms, number of adults. So again, we can change those as we need. And this is exactly what we need. Offset and rows per page. The reason this is good is because basically what offset is doing is, if you remember when we first loaded on the page, these top 30 were already there and we didn't see the GraphQL request for that. But when we scrolled down, we saw the data for that. And so what this request is doing, it's offsetting those first 30, not refetching them, which is pretty smart. So, but we're going to get around that. So we're going to set the offset to 0 so that way we get all the data. And instead of doing 30 rows per page, let's just make this 1,000. And to verify that this works, what we're going to do is I like to just scroll down. So as you can see, there's 20,000 lines in the current result. So now, since I made it 1,000 results, there probably won't be 1,000 for most places. That's just like the upper limit. If we click send, we get the 200 again, which is what we want to see. But now if we scroll down, there's 51,000 lines, and that's perfect because with those 51,000 lines, that means, okay, we got all the data, and the actual count was 83. So that's good. So now with this data, again, this is super hard to read and parse. So now what we're going to do is let's ask AI to help us basically turn this into reusable code that we can come back to. So basically, I'm going to give it the request and tell it, hey, this is the request, and these are the parameters and headers that you need. This is how you set it up. Then once it's successfully setting the requests and sending them and we're getting the result, then we can have the AI parse it for us. So let's do that. All right, and as always, what I do is I come to the right. I then go to Python and I do requests. So let's go to requests here, copy this, and now let's head over to the code editor. Let's make a new file called booking.com-py or .py, sorry. And then I'm going to paste this in here. I'm going to do import or from curl cffi import request. This is just to impersonate the browser in a much better way. And then down here, we're just going to do impersonate is equal to Chrome. So again, if you haven't seen in my videos, I often use curl cffi. This is just a library that allows us to easily mimic browsers and get those browser footprints so that we don't get blocked. Postman went through, so I don't think we'd get blocked, but just in case the protection improves in the future, or just to mitigate the potential of getting blocked, let's remove that as well. Or let's add the curl cffi, and then I just remove the cookie, and then what else are we going to remove? Let's see. I think all this is fine to keep. Yeah, this is all fine to keep, honestly. And this is all the things we were looking at before. Cool. All right, so now let's go to a terminal and we're gonna run it. So I think I have to set up my environment. So let me do that really quick. All right, my environment's set up, so now let's run it. So let's do uv run booking.com. And it looks like it worked. Let me redo this. Let me not print the response. I think the response was fine, honestly. Let's do print response.status code. That's much easier to read. .status, I believe that's what it is. So let's do that. Clear this. Is it status code? There you go, 200, perfect. All right, so now that we're getting to 200 and we get the data, now we're gonna have AI basically help us parse it because that's a lot to read. That was pretty hard to see. So we're just gonna have it tell us what are all the listings, and let's do that now. The code editor I'm using is Cursor. It's an AI powered code editor, super powerful. So on the right here, we have this tab where I can choose models, and I'm using Claude 4 Sonnet right now. I think it's a really good model. And basically I'm gonna tell it, hey, this is the data, help me parse it and figure out what's needed. So I'm not gonna paste it all into the chat window here because it's probably gonna break Cursor because it's a lot. And also the model's not gonna be able to handle that much context. So instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn that JSON into a file here, and then I'm gonna pass that JSON in as context, and it's gonna read it and figure it out for me. So let's do that now. So if I go to Postman, I'm going to copy the response. I'm going to make a new file called response example.json, paste this in, save, and then now I can just drag this in, and I'm going to say, let's see, I don't think it worked because, again, it's a large file. So yeah, it's having a hard time indexing that. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here because it's so large, and let's limit it to like 10. Let's do like 3 rows per page. And let's get that JSON because that's going to be much more manageable. So let's go back here, and it's only 10,000 lines, which I think should be doable for AI. Yeah, so that's much better. So we're going to tell it, and I'm going to write the prompt to basically help us parse it. And a nice feature is that, as you can see, I can just add the files and it takes it in as context within the chat. Really nice feature. All right, so this is just for the first task. I'm just gonna have it write a parser. Then for a subsequent task, I'm gonna have it basically create a command line interface tool where I can pass in the dates that I want and the number of results that I want. So that way I don't have to change it manually in code. When I run the script, I'll be able to pass that information and the script will go and make the request with those parameters. But first, let's just wait for this to finish generating. All right, so the AI finished, and let's actually look at the result. So basically what it does now is it goes through the search results. It looks for price display, display price, amount per stay. It's basically looking for all this different information, and it's going to print it out all in the terminal. So let's try this and see if it works. I didn't run this yet, so I'll be interested to see. Okay, sick. I got hotel number 1, the address, stars, price per night. Okay, this is literally perfect. All right, yeah, this is all great. So now I'm gonna have AI basically edit the script and be able to pass in different days I would want to stay, and also we can also do some filtering. So like the highest price I'd want to do, lowest price, number of stars. So let's basically ask AI to do that for us as well. So let's do Command I to open the side panel. All right, so this is the prompt. I'm basically saying, hey, that the output is working, and now we can move on to the next thing. And I'm saying now that the script is working, I want to be able to pass in different information. And I just gave it a few examples based on the data that we saw in the terminal. So I want to be able to pass in the dates of the stay, the max price, minimum number of stars, and then the minimum number of reviews. And then for dates of the stay, the format from the user must be month, day, year, yeah, and example is 08 10 2025. So now I'm gonna have AI do this as well. This hopefully shouldn't take as long, but do that as well, and we'll see how that goes, and I'll come back when this is done. The script just finished, so now that we can run it and see the output. So it basically made the CLI tool. And let's see, it tells us that prompts for check-in, max price. Okay, so now let's go here and let's clear this. Let's run it. I haven't tried it yet. So let's do check-in date. Let's do August 1st, 2025. Let's do August 15th, 2025. Max price per night. Let's do 750 or 650. Okay, fine. And then max star rating or minimum star rating. Let's do 4. And number of reviews, let's do none. It doesn't matter. So it's going to search, and now it's going to filter. Found 100 hotels, processing none type. Okay. So this is what happens sometimes when you're coding with AI. But I like doing it because it allows me to iterate faster. So basically, I'm just going to go here. I'm going to tell it when I ran the script, I got the following error. Fix this issue when the script is executed. Alright, so now let's wait for this to finish, and I'll come back and we'll test the script. Then once it's working, we'll be good to go. Alright, looks like the changes just came in. So now let's go back, clear this, rerun it, and again, let's just do the same dates. Alright, max price, 650, 3, and let's go. Nice, okay. So there's 100 results, I'm pretty sure. Found 100 results, and then it filtered only 78 for that. So price per night, we had entered the max price per night of 650, and so all these should be less. And then minimum star rating of 3 as well. So actually what we can do is we can rerun it again to just make sure that this is working properly, and we can do the same dates. So we're going to do the same dates, so it's all the same hotels again. And then we're going to just make the constraints more tight. So max price per night, let's do 300. And we're going to make the minimum star rating 4. And then number of reviews, let's also keep that at 0. All right, so 22 now. So very different result, as you can see. Wait, where is it? Yeah, only 22. So that's how we do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, this is a quick video going over how to web scrape, basic website, and then how we can use AI to basically help create the scripts to make those extendable. So now that we have Seattle, you could go to other cities, New York, San Fran, other cities, tie those all into one file, run the script, get all those at once, and then do the data processing. And in the next video, I'll show you guys how we can make a front end to process all that data. So yeah, see you guys in that video.